Hello, Vintage Outboard Motor fans. This is T-Mike. Here on Toledo Bend Lake. I'm making another video today. Today's video is going to be on oil seals. That's right, the oil seals that are in your vintage motors. All right, it's going to be a 6-part video. Okay, first part is going to be on the types of seals that are in your vintage motors. Second part is going to be how these oil seals actually work. All right, third part is going to be the location of these oil seals on your vintage motor. Fourth part, I'm going to show you the tools and how to use them to replace and install these oil seals. And the fifth part is going to be part numbers. I'm actually going to give you a list of the part numbers so you can easily find them in my eBay store. Alright, and the sixth part is where you can find these oil seals. And as I just told you, I'm going to have them in my eBay store for you to use. Alright, so if everybody's ready, here we go. And here we go with part one. Part one is the different types of seals and gaskets. So there are 4 different types. First type is what this video is on today. It's on oil seals. This is what they look like. Pretty much, we'll talk about how they work and how to install them and how to remove them in this video. The 3 other types of seals and gaskets are used for keeping in water. This is a thermostat gasket. It's the same function as the oil seal. The oil seal keeps the oil in and the dust and water out. These water gaskets, this is a thermostat gasket, keeps the water in and the dust and dirt and grime out. The third type of seals and gaskets is a fuel gasket. This is a carburetor gasket. Carburetor sits on here on the carburetor manifold and lets the fuel come through and not come out. Keeps the dust and particles out. And then the last part of seals and gaskets is for the exhaust system. So the exhaust system has some gaskets. This is the gasket between the power head and the exhaust chamber. Keeps the exhaust fumes from coming out. It keeps dirt and grime from coming in. So those are the 4 different types of seals and gaskets. So that's it for part 1. Let's move into part 2 and see how the actual oil seals actually work. Okay, part 2 is how do the oil seals work. So here's the oil seal. As you can see, it's made out of metal. Metal with a rubber inside. If you look on the inside of the rubber, there's a spring that surrounds the opening and pushes the rubber against the prop shaft or drive shaft or whatever it slipped on. So I've taken one apart, and there's the spring. There's a spring that goes around this rubber that pushes it against the shaft to hold it in. So when you replace the seal and you put it on either the drive shaft or the prop shaft like this, okay, you want to have the metal portion facing outwards, and when you push it on, it should be snug, right? If it's not snug, you got the wrong seal. It should slide but be snug up against it. Okay, there is one other seal. That's the shift rod seal. It's really an O-ring. We'll talk about that when we talk about the location where this particular oil seal is. It's an O-ring. Alright, so that's how they work. The spring pushes on the rubber, compresses it against the shaft to keep the oil in. You can tell that if you were to pressure test this gear case, if you put enough air pressure on it, it would open up that spring and leak, but it's good for up to 10-15 pounds of pressure. That's how the oil seal works. That's part number 2. Let's move on to part number 3 now. Alright, part number 3 is going to be the location of these oil seals. All right, so they're in 5 different places. The first one is going to be the prop shaft. So prop shaft has a seal right there, goes around the prop shaft itself and seats inside here. All right, then there's another seal right here on the drive shaft. When you pull the drive shaft out, there's the upper seal, sits right in there. Okay, then there's the shift rod seal we were talking about, the O-ring. Here's the shift rod on this 9.5 horsepower. If you take it apart and push out that bushing, this O-ring sits underneath that bushing right there around the shift rod. Okay, that's number 3. And there's 2 all seals on the power heads. There's the upper crankcase seal right there, and then on the bottom there's a lower crankcase seal. Now, just a word of caution, your smaller 3s and 5.5s don't have a crankcase seal, upper and lower. They have what they call an oil slinger. It doesn't go bad, just keeps the oil moving in there. Get to the higher horsepowers, there is an upper and lower crank seal, and when we get to the part number section, I'll show you which ones do and which ones don't have that seal. All right, so that's the location of all of the seals, oil seals, on your vintage motors. Now we're going to move into part 4, which is going to be the tools on how to replace and install these seals. All right, here we are in part 4, and here are the tools that you would need to remove and install these seals. First one is a pry bar. I'm going to demonstrate how to use these tools in just a second here. Pry bar, and here's a T-mic trick. I made a screwdriver, heated up the end and bended it. Needs to be one you can drive. I'm going to show you how to use that one in a second. You also going to need just the right size socket when you're going to install these seals. Place that socket on the top and you can tap it in with a ball peen hammer, small hammer. This is a crankcase, upper crankcase, lower crankcase seal remover. Screw it down and screw this in to the crankshaft and take it off. And then I'm going to show you another method with a drill. Drill 3 holes in this thing. Put in your screws it in, and then take pliers and wiggle the seal out. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use these tools right now. So the pry bar tool you would use for removing a seal like this. Put it inside, try to catch the upper lip and pry it. Problem with doing that is you sometimes tend to break the surface of the area that you're prying against. So you have to be careful. Just work it a little bit at a time. The seal is pressed into a beveled receiver here. So it's just pressed in, jammed in. When you pry it with the bar, it comes out. That's how you use that tool. The T-mic trick tool. Took a screwdriver, a driver screwdriver, heated it up and bent the end. Object is to take the end and put it insert it this way till you catch that seal, and then bang on it here a little bit at a time until you push that seal out from the back side. That works great. That is the best way to remove the seal. And here's the upper crankcase remover. Just slide it on the top, screw it down in, and it catches that seal. Sometimes you have to take a knife and remove that rubber on that seal, and then drive that in till it catches it, and then screw down on this and it put against the crankshaft and it pulls the seals out, draws it out. Works really good. And then, as I said, you could also just take a drill and drill 3 holes in the top of that seal, screw the screws in all 3, and then use some pliers to pull it out. This would kind of be a last resort if you can't, the other tools don't work. That's how you do it. Don't forget, when you're putting it in, find you just the right socket to put on here and tap it down in until it's flush with the surface. That's how you install it. Okay, so that's the end of part 4 on the tools you need for removing and installing the oil seals. Alright, here we go with part 5 of the video, and that's the part numbers. I think this is the part of the video you're going to like the most. So I have a list of all the part numbers. I'm going to put it up now. There it is, and it shows you the oil seals for the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, 3 horsepower to 18 horsepowers. You can look across and see I got the 1.5 all the way to the 5 horsepowers. Year 1958 to 1980. There's your prop shaft seal, 18-2035, and your drive shaft seals, the same one, 18-2035. No crankcase upper seal, no crankcase lower seal. So you can just look down the list. I got all the horsepowers from 1.5 to 18 horsepower, the years, and the seals you need. All the seals that you would need. So these are the part numbers for all the motors that I work on. If you need to find any others, you could go to marineengine.com and look up that part number for your prop seal. I specialize in these horsepowers, and I have all the seals in stock. So that's how you're going to find your part numbers. All right, part 6, where to find these oil seals for your vintage outboard motor. And the answer is Trusted T-Mike Parts, my eBay store. The link for all these oil seals are down in the description below. Just look up your part number on the spreadsheet I showed and go to T-Mike store and buy it. If it's not a horsepower that I have, that I work on, you can always go to marineengine.com. I highly recommend them. Same seals. Get them from marineengine.com. So that's where you find your oil seals. Well, all right, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let's summarize, okay? We had 6 parts to this video. Let's go over the 6 parts right now. Come on. Come on. All right, part 1 of the video were the 4 types of oil seals, okay? And part 2 of the video was how the oil seals work, all right? Part 3 of the video showed you the location of all these seals on your vintage outboard motors. Part 4 showed you the tools you need to remove and replace these seals. Part 5 gave you all the part numbers for the seals you need. And part 6 showed you where to get these seals. T-Mike's eBay store. So hope y'all enjoyed that. With these 6 parts of the video should be everything you need to know about oil seals. Okay, you can go. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. See y'all next time. Thanks for watching the video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please click on subscribe and tell all your friends about T-Mike's Vintage Outboards YouTube channel. Also, I have dozens of links below in the description. You can find my eBay store, all the parts I have in there. You can find my trusted T-Mike parts, where I make kits for fuel pump conversions, for your carburetors, for your magnetos and your gear cases. You also have a link for my mail-in repair service, how to send me your parts to repair and send them back to you. Also a link in there for technical consulting if you need some help with your vintage motors. So I love what I do. I love all the videos that you guys have requested for me to make. Keep the requests coming in, and I'll keep making the videos. And remember, always remember, and never forget, here at T-Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time.